So let's say that you're this guy. You're a new creator and want to be more productive. Right now you're uploading a new video every week and you want to make them better, more impactful and release them more often. Ideally once every 2 days. But now you set this ambitious goal, you think to yourself, how am I going to do this? You realize that you must be 4 times faster than you already are. That means making those hard decisions sooner and sooner. What to write, what to say, what to film, how to show it in the best way, and most of all, finding that special music that is hiding somewhere, hopefully. You also realize that you up until now spent 5 hours a day just consuming, but getting rid of all this is simply too hard. How are you supposed to live with that loss? And now when you're sitting here, you start to realize that you're not as good as you thought you were, despite the analytics already telling you that from day one. So now you should cut out almost everything except for creating, make these hard decisions much sooner, and hope that nothing is wrecking your perfectly laid out plan. Sounds scary, right? Wait, are you still listening? Oh, I just went into Twitter again. You son of a... Now honestly, what you just saw were some of my initial thoughts when I started to create here 5 months ago, and maybe you feel the same right now, but thankfully I discovered 4 tactics that I use every day to not feel scared by the whole process, but instead feel a tremendous sense of joy and excitement. This is now so fun that I would hardly do anything else, and hopefully you find this very helpful too. So back in September I wanted to experiment with uploading twice a week instead of once a week, and at that time I wasn't sure if I was going to sustain it. So I waited until I had at least 1 or 2 videos already so I could schedule them in advance, and this way I still had a safety margin in case something happened or if anything took longer than expected. But as I was getting better and better, my buffer of scheduled videos seemed to grow, and it went so far that I had an entire month just scheduled, and it was not perfect either, because what if there was some particular trend and I had to wait the whole month until I could take advantage of it? And therefore I decided in November to do every other day instead. Still today I sometimes have to release daily because the buffer just grows and grows, but right now I have around a week's worth of content, which gives me peace of mind that nothing bad will happen. So if you want to do more, I recommend you to wait until you have sort of a safety net, and then you can try to be more ambitious. It's a very good way to make progress while also being able to sleep during the nights. It's so easy for us to look after the most advanced stuff, the perfect camera, the perfect tags, and maybe go into biohacking. That sounds so cool, right? But very recently I had this realization that I might not have done the basics enough. Like how to tell a good story and be more charismatic in front of the camera, and also establish more trust to the audience. So instead of distracting myself in all these fancy strategies and tactics, I decided to be as simple as possible, just focusing on the fundamentals and not so much anywhere else. And I will tell you, this has been a game changer for me so far. Just focusing on this mundane stuff like breathing, posture and sleeping has gained so much of an outsized return, and I think you'll be amazed on how effective you will be once these 3 are working more properly than you've ever been before. And once we truly have the basics, we have the foundation to make growth come as a default. The third tactic is more of an observation that we have to confront these hard decisions once we get better. And we're already taking like thousands of decisions every day as is. And if you look at prominent people like Mark Zuckerberg and the late great Steve Jobs, they were famous of having a very simple lifestyle, or at least you could see that in their clothes. And I noticed this phenomenon myself, and as I'm making more and more of these videos, a lot of decisions happens automatically now, with a very quick realization, like this is the music I want, or this is how I want it to be, and this is how I want it to look like, etc. It feels like the decision has already been made, and you're sort of executing a step-by-step guide already. And this intuitive sense of the process is one of the hallmarks of mastery, actually. So if you have these forks in a road and afraid of taking the wrong one, I think it's helpful to know that you will get better and better at this decision the more you do it. So you don't even know that you're taking the right one every time, no matter what you're creating. I came across this quote the other day which says that fear is not the unknown itself, it's a fear of losing the known. And that resonated a lot with me, as I've been very interested in this inverted, counterintuitive and simple thinking. And indeed, like, loss aversion exists, and it seems like we humans don't really like losing or losing things in general. But what if you have a ton of extra weight in your backpack, a ton of clutter and dust, or maybe some tensions and even pain that you're just carrying around wherever you go? Wouldn't you want to lose those? Maybe it's becoming more clear now that this loss aversion might work against us, especially when it comes to productivity. And personally, I want to get rid of the past, get rid of anything I don't like, and start something new every day, start something really fresh and going for the blank slate. And I think almost all creators are in the same way, since we look towards what is new and become a part of it. That does not mean that losing our identification to our past means losing overall. Rather, we need to make room for something better, something more extraordinary. So whether you go back to old habits like scrolling and distracting yourself, I think it's comforting to know that by reducing that to a minimum, you suddenly this extra time, you gain this extra time, energy, attention to become more productive than you ever could imagine. It's sort of like a trade in which you trade away things you don't like, things that you will happily pay off to in order to get these in return that you really like. Those are the ones you want to keep. And with that, I hope I inspired you to see productivity as a turbo booster to the life you want to live, and not as this scary, judgmental, I have to do this thing, and at least if you have a buffer. And if you like this video, let me know in the comments what topics you want to see covered by me in this channel, and of course subscribe for a new video every day, or at least every other day.